Welcome to another day in the Matrix. This is Waters Above. We're just a day out from a very important date that I've been talking about on this channel and in all my interviews I've had since the start of 2023. And here we are, finally at this crucial astrological event. We have a lot to get into in today's video. We'll be discussing the lunar eclipse and how I'm expecting this crypto market to react over the next couple weeks. So you'll definitely want to watch this one all the way until the end and make sure to take notes. And just a reminder, the new month has started on Patreon for the month of May. If you've been waiting to join, I appreciate your support. You could sign up today by visiting patreon.com/watersabove to join the Mastermind community or Trading Wolves membership and get instant access to my weekly Red Pill podcasts. That's my technical analysis podcast to wrap up the week and for me to review the altcoins that our community votes on. And by becoming a Patreon supporter, you'll also get access to our Discord server for our community group chat, so you could come hang out with the Wolf Pack. And you'll also unlock the biggest discounts available on my courses. The Patreon link can be found in the description box of this video and in the pinned comment below. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, Numerology, and Astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious beings to help grow our community. And with that being said, let's take the clear pill. So we're going to definitely be kicking this off with some important date numerology. You guys are well aware. Tomorrow is the lunar eclipse from May 5th till May 6th. You got this handy little countdown timer right over here. And this will be a penumbral lunar eclipse. Again, been talking about this on this channel for a very long time now. So it's great to finally be here. And we're going to be actually recapping some of the key data points that were from a couple of decodes that I've shared over the past months called Sell in May and Go Away, and the recent World Reserve Decoded that I just released last month. So let's kick things off strong. The lunar eclipse is on the 5-5 date in the Gregorian system, 55 being your power number. This 5 plus 5 reducing to 10, which reduces again to the number 1, utilizing numerology, And in Gematria, we see this number 55 often in my work with the mythology of Satoshi Nakamoto. As you can see right here by the code in multiple ciphers, we have that 55 in the full reduction and 55 in Chaldean. So you guys are used to seeing this if you watch my videos. And now if you take from today, which is the day before the eclipse, and you bring it over to March 10th, which was the day that Silicon Valley Bank failed, gives you 55 days. And the day before Silicon Valley Bank failed, March 9th, was a 55 date numerology. And I like to utilize this double-digit date numerology, as you could see it mapped out right there. So very important to see these 55 connections. Now, tomorrow, this 5-5 connects to Rosh Hashanah, which will be September 16th of this year by 134 days. And this is the anagram of pi, 3.14. But also we see this in the code of Ripple XRP right here. And this is important that you do this sometimes whenever you're decoding cryptos, that you add the company or the whole name as well as the ticker symbol. Combine those together, you get this bigger code, and this could definitely be helpful for you. So you could see that Ripple, the company, XRP, the token, adding up to 134, just like from the day of the eclipse to Rosh Hashanah is 134 days. Keep that in mind. I do believe we're anticipating another leg up for XRP very soon, and I still have that 83-cent target on my radar for this year. Now, the standard date numerology of this day of May 5th gives you 17. That adds up to 8, 1 plus 7, and 1 plus 3 plus 4 also adds up to 8. getting a little bit of extra code here to connect, but let's actually move past this May 5th date and get to the juice. And we're going to start talking about the coronation of fake King Charles III and how this will be on May 6th. It's a date that I've talked about a lot lately, but let's just get into it a little bit deeper. And this definitely an interesting time frame. If we start to break down the code a little bit more, I'm just going to show you how King Charles gives us this 93 in Gematria, and this 93 tied to Saturn Day, because this will be coronation on a Saturn day, and 93 are also getting with Saturn. Direct connection here, and it's very important you consider this. I don't know why they decided to choose that day out of all dates, but probably something to consider here. But this is where it really gets interesting. So Charles III also giving us 57. Now, if you connect from May 6th over to March 10th, which was the date that we were talking about earlier with the failure of Silicon Valley Bank, gives you 57 days. So keep this Charles III 57 code in mind. As well, you could see it right there, the span of days between Silicon Valley Bank failing and the coronation of King Charles will be exactly 57 days. Now, if you look, this date, March 10th, was the day before the 57 date numerology, and that was the 70th day of the year. Just like Queen Elizabeth celebrated her 70th year as the Queen with the Platinum Jubilee last year before she allegedly passed away. And she died at 96 years old. March 10th was the 69th day of the year, the mirror of 96, 96, 69, as above, so below. And what's really interesting about this number 57 connection with King Charles III, you could see that, is that Sunday, this 7th date, and connecting it to the following day of March 11th gives you 57 days tied to the 57th date numerology on the 5-7 date. So in the Gregorian system, you have May being the 5th month, 7th day, tied to the 57 date numerology of March 11th, which is a span of 57 days. Now, where this is really going to get mind-blowing is, I'm sure you guys remember I had a decode called Super Bowl 57 Decoded for this recent Super Bowl. And the Kansas City Chiefs won 38-35 against the Philadelphia Eagles. And if you add up both teams' scores, you could see this right here, Super Bowl LVII, 38 and 35 adds up to 73. What's really amazing about this is, if you guys are aware of my work, you know that I talk about how May is not actually the 5th month in the system. It is the 3rd month in the system. March should be the 1st month in the calendrical system, followed by April being the 2nd and May being the 3rd. Now, if you consider this, May 7th should actually be 3-7, and if you wrote that internationally, it would be 7-3. No matter how you chop this up, this is coming back to the recent Super Bowl 57. 57 days apart from this critical moment of Silicon Valley Bank failing. And remember who did the Eagles beat to get into the recent Super Bowl? They beat the 49ers, the San Francisco 49ers, Silicon Valley. This is all esoteric code from the sports, and we're decoding it. These big events like Super Bowls and World Cup and Olympics, they really do matter in the grand scheme of things. Of course, you don't need to watch them. You could just see how the things are all going, judge the energy, decode it as we do here on this channel, and you'd be able to determine how this is going to affect things like the stock market and global economics, etc. And the people that don't think that that's the case, it's time to wake up. So this is just amazing how the final score of both of these teams adds up to that number 73, and the esoteric date should actually be 7-3. Just something to consider. And if you go to some of these connections by the code, I want to actually break this down a little bit more. We're going to show you how LVII being all coded into this. So we are well aware that these are Roman numerals. So LVII is 57, but we're going to be showing you this with the Gematria, and LVII typed out is going to give you that 5225, just like rabbit gives you 5225. We're in the year of the rabbit in the Chinese zodiac, and chiefs equals 25 in Chaldean, another 5225 connection, and Charles the Third gives you 25 in Chaldean in the same cipher, as well as 57, just like how the chiefs with this 25 connection to Charles III won Super Bowl 57 that you're seeing here in Charles III full reduction, which, remember, this date that it happened on was the 12th of February, which was a 57 date numerology. And it was the day leaving 322 days in the year of 223, 2023. Now, the final piece of code to share with this could be a setup into the upcoming new moon, which is going to be on the 19th of May. So let's go a little bit deeper into that. And going back to Super Bowl 57 decode, I used the periodic table to analyze the number 57 a little bit deeper. That will be the element lanthanum. And again, if you've watched that decode, you know how crazy this connection was, but it was something that helped me determine the Chiefs to win weeks before it happened. So whatever works, works. And if it's not broke, why try to fix it? But this 57th element lanthanum having an atomic mass of 138. Let's just play around a little bit more with the code to show you how wild this just is. This Super Bowl LVII adding up to 183, the anagram of 138. So using this number 138, which we're getting with lanthanum being the 57th element tied to Super Bowl 57, let's go to the 138th day of the year, which is May 18th. Now, if you watch that decode that I shared on Sell in May and Go Away Decoded, you're going to know that I talked specifically about May 17th through the 23rd. So we're just recapping a couple things here, but I think this is pretty fascinating how you can see the 138th day of the year giving us this 66 date numerology, how Super Bowl LVII has the 66 in full reduction right there. 6 plus 6 adds up to 12 naturally, just like how Super Bowl Sunday was on the 12th. And it had a 12 date numerology connected to May 18th, which has a 21 date numerology, the mirror of the number 21, as above, so below. And remember, the final score of both of these teams was 38 plus 35 equals 73. 73 is the 21st prime number, all tied into these 21s and 12s. And that's massive because, again, we're in the year of the rabbit. And let me just show you how in Chaldean that equals 12. Most pure cipher we could really use for English words. Massive stuff, guys. May 18th is showing to be a very big code. But notice how these two dates are 95 days apart. And remember, the queen died at 96 years old. So 95 naturally being the encroaching number. And then you have the day before this, May 17th, being your 137th day of the year. 137 is your 33rd prime number. I talked about this a lot in my last YouTube video. Moving forward to May 21st, this being 14 weeks since the Super Bowl, and 14 weeks is also 13 weeks and 7 days. 137, again, coming back to your 33rd prime number. This is another esoteric way of seeing the code. I hope this stuff helps, and definitely take notes if this stuff is new to you. So what is amazing about this 14 weeks connection is how Super Bowl was on the 43rd day of the year, and 43 is the 14th prime number. May 21st is the 141st day of the year, which is the palindrome of the number 14. It is 14 forwards and backwards, which is naturally the day after May 20th, which is a 14 date numerology, and also the 140th day of the year. You remove the 0 with the rules of numerology, that brings you back to the number 14. Another number 14 connection. And what's the 14th element on the periodic table? It is silicone. Remember how I've been talking about Silicon Valley Bank failing this whole time? So the last thing I'll point out, since earlier I spoke on February 12th, 2023. The last Super Bowl was the day leaving 322 days left in the year 2023. And connecting this to May 22nd, which is the day leaving 223 days left in the year, which is the mirror of that 322. Of course, this 223, 322 number coming back to Skull and Bones, Yale Secret Society. But this is 99 days apart, big connection to Jupiter. By the code, you could see that right there. We know that we left the year of the tiger in Chinese zodiac last year. That was directly connected to Jupiter. We're moving into the year of the dragon next year, which that 24 number for 2024 and the Hebrew year of 5783, moving into 5784 being the 24. That 24 being the logo of Jupiter. So we have to consider this play behind Elon Musk converting Twitter into X Corp, because X is your 24th letter in the alphabet. Remember, he had X.com. He has SpaceX. He is all about this X. And we're moving into that critical year of 2024 in the Hebrew year 5784, 24, year of the dragon. Expect fire rituals for the whole year. Just letting you know in advance, this is how that code works. And that's definitely going to be positive in actually the 2024 year for XRP, because it is the X, 24th letter in the alphabet. That's their logo. So May 17th through May 23rd are packed with esoteric connections. I actually almost left out one very important thing, connecting these two dates. Remember I was saying the 141, the number 14? This is the 43rd day of the year, being the 14th prime. And you could see the 141 right there, 14 weeks in one day. That's the palindrome of the number 14, which this is the day after the 141st day of the year, the palindrome of the number 14. And last thing to say about this code is how this is a span of 3 months and 10 days, like 3/10 or March 10th in the Gregorian system, which is the day Silicon Valley Bank failed. This brings this decode full circle. Probably one of the best free decodes that I've released here on YouTube. I hope you guys enjoy it. This was packed full of information that you could use, moving us pretty much through a majority of the month of May. So, like I said, May 17th through 23rd are packed with esoteric connections, and this code I just exposed is icing on the cake from the past two decodes I released on Patreon called Sell in May and Go Away Decoded, which was dedicated to May 17th through 23rd specifically, and my newest Gematria decode called World Reserve Decoded, which was essentially a part 2 follow-up to that Sell in May Decoded, where I talked about the month of July and potential negative effects on the market, which added more strength to my thesis about being open-minded to the month of June as a potential bull trap time frame for the crypto market, and what I've been effectively calling an automatic rally phase utilizing the Wyckoff method. And as of today, we're actually less than 2 months out from the July full moon, which will be on July 3rd. You could see that right there. And we will keep that as the main point of attention between now and then to expect the last leg up for this crypto market, which I ultimately see being a bull trap followed by a bigger pullback over the months of July into November of this year. And any bullish momentum that we get between now and the month of June will be an opportunity, in my opinion, based on my analysis, to de-risk the portfolio a little bit before having this much more dramatic and larger pullback into the months of September and October specifically. So if you are joining Patreon today because you enjoyed this style of decoding, you want even more exclusive content, my Red Pill podcast, access to our Discord server, I really appreciate your support, and the link and all the information is in the pinned comment and in the description box. And before we get into the technical analysis on this video, go ahead and give this video a like if you haven't already, and spread some love in the comment section. That's what we're all about here. We're getting into the chart of Bitcoin today. I'm going to turn off some of this noise and just analyze this with a clean chart. And you can see Bitcoin trading a little bit above 29,000. We had the market top out on the 14th, about 4 to 6 trading days before the solar eclipse that we had to start off the solar cycle on April 20th. Here we are. We've had a larger pullback into April 24th with a leg up to almost 30K, actually topping at 30K in the short term, and we've been holding structure since. So if we go off of wick lows, or we could call them tails, we have right here on March 27th, our low at 26,500. We have right over here, April 24th, we have about 27K on the lows, and thus far we've actually been holding structure since taking this next leg up. Comparing January, February up to where we are now in the month of May. Structurally, we're maintaining this uptrend. Ever since we broke 25K, which was a horizontal resistance coming in August 14th, and double tap on February 21st, we have finally broken through it, and we can't flip bearish just yet until Bitcoin starts to break structure. And that would essentially be even bullish if we were to back test about 25K. So I'm just letting you know and kind of recapping off of my last YouTube video that played out. The fact that Bitcoin's trading here at 29,000, it's nothing to freak out about. This is very normal price action for Bitcoin. And if I was to zoom out and show you how this 2019 market looked, this moment right here that we got before the final shot up looks very similar to what we're getting right now, where you can see rejection, short-term pullback, a little bit of a crown top, another rejection, followed by one more pullback before going up. And you could see here, one pullback, followed by a second leg up to the upside, pullback down to support, right? Just like that. And then we had a rally. Once we broke this top here, we went up in a straight line. So you could see once we had about 3 trading days of struggle, just green candles for about 10 days straight. And here we are, we're looking very similar in that structure. We could be on our 3rd green in a row, and ultimately we won't be getting excited until Bitcoin closes a daily above 30,500, which is about $1,400 above where we are today. And we know Bitcoin could do that furiously and within, moments. That's just the way this market works. And I'm sure you guys are aware of that by now. We saw evidence of this back on March 10th, where we had the Silicon Valley Bank failure, a bunch of shit happened in the crypto market, but we sprung out of that within a week and we were on a new higher high in the microstructure. Same thing could happen now. So just to recap of what I was saying moments ago about how being open-minded to the month of June, well, it's because in this 2019 cycle, we went up into the month of June and got rejection, followed by this cycle here not followed by, but going back to the cycle of 2015, 2016, we made it up into the month of June right there with a pullback. Now, the eclipses that started the solar cycle were right here in March, and we actually held sideways before going up into June. Here, our solar cycle started right there in July of 2019, and then we entered a pullback but maintained structure. And thus far, we've entered our solar cycle on April 20th in this iteration here, and we're looking very combined compared to both cycles. Here we had this blow off top energy, and here so far we don't have that at all. We're holding structure and it's looking a lot better, a lot healthier. And that's to be expected because as Bitcoin matures and the market cap grows, you see diminishing returns, diminishing losses. So what I'm looking at now seems to be a combination of the automatic rally of 2016 and the automatic rally of 2019, but both ultimately having this spike up. And let's just analyze RSI at the top, getting into about 93, 92 territory. If we have this top over here of the 2019 cycle, we could see we got about, I want to say about 88, 87 with a couple of drives of bearish divergence. And thus far, we haven't tested into the 90s since back in January. And we have yet to clear that top. So I do see at least one more leg higher, and that has a lot to do with analyzing the macro time frame. So if I'm just look at this Bitcoin monthly chart as we've made it through the monthly close of April, we have a couple of things to point out, and one of them being here, which is this 8 simple moving average, the yellow moving average crossing above this white moving average, the 55 simple, and that is a wolf cross, and that wolf cross is bullish implied. So it's with upside upside potential more likely than downside potential. That's a very powerful cross, so keep that in mind. And then we have a bi-weekly close coming in at the end of this week, right after the coronation of fake King Charles. Definitely holding this 8 simple moving average is positive, and we could see to the upside we have that 55 simple at about 34,000 being what I would assume is your next leg up, between 32 and 34k Bitcoin in the next swipe. And if we were to start closing above this 55 simple, I think that would really be when we want to start getting ready for the end of the automatic rally, about $40,000 Bitcoin. Weekly is looking perfectly fine. We back tested the 8 simple moving average and we've bounced since, so nothing really bearish to say about that. And then looking at all the other time frames lower than that, of course, it's going to be a similar story. We have our EMAs in a bullish posture with the 13 above the 21 above the 34 on the 5-day, 3-day, 2-day, and we're even back testing the 21 moving average on the 2-day, holding it, and the 13 daily is looking fine as well. The fact that we're back above the 13 and we're in bullish posture here with all moving averages sloping to the upside. We even have closing a daily yesterday above the 8 simple. No back tests at the 55 so far, and this 55 simple moving average is now above 28,000. So the daily looks like it's more than likely to hold structure, and the 200 simple now holding, getting into 22,000 is making me feel that if Bitcoin's going to have a larger pullback, you're definitely going to want to be looking at that 200 simple on the downside. And I would see that happening more likely into the later half of June, perhaps in July, August for sure. Great buying opportunity then. And if Bitcoin was to roll down into those prices, expect really big pullbacks for the alt market. So let's just consider the short term. What we're dealing with right now, it would be a close above 29,500 to get us into playing out this bullish W pattern, which I believe has a measured move somewhere into about 32,000. I'm going to talk a little bit about this trend line here that has been in place since January 21st. Just pay attention to this green trend line. It's been in play now for about 100 days, and we've gotten below it on this May 1st, May Day, and coming back into it, pretty much back into it right now. We could adjust this a little bit. It's not a huge deal, but I wouldn't suspect this being as crucial. Getting over the candle closure of April 27th would be more what I would like to see. So getting a daily above that 29,600, as I said earlier, but the real party should start at above 30,600. So keep that level in mind, 30,600. And if we are to start closing lower than this red ray that I have drawn here below 27,000, that's when I would expect a wash down to 25. So we're in a horizontal trading range that's been in play for about 50 days. If we go back to this trading range right here where we entered this horizontal range to the breakout, I would say it's as fair to talk of it from January 20th to this big green candle. That's 56 days. If we were to go off of this green candle 56 days, that brings you to May 12th. So can we be getting that bullish breakout by then? Well, that's very likely. As I teach you, when we have a full moon, which is tomorrow, the full moon lunar eclipse, it's about a 5-day window to pivot out of the energy. So getting into long position around a full moon is smarter because we head up into new moons out of full moons. Now, that's not trading advice. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you the way that these lunar phases tend to work. And because I was talking about May 12th and that being your third quarter moon, you anticipate pivots for sure by these time frames. So if we're getting dramatic lows around first quarter moons, moving into full moons, that's like your swing trade long entry opportunity. And then anticipation out of full moons, moving into new moons is where you start to de-risk and rinse, repeat. You could pretty much do this month after month. I know there's a Zach Rector, another YouTuber, great guy, really, really good energy. He's spoken about utilizing my system with great success. So appreciate him. And maybe we'll get together in the future and kind of talk about how I've been using it since the start of this new eclipse season as of April 20th, because we're definitely getting a lot of energy around these. And that's why I talk about these eclipses and warn you guys so far in advance to prepare for them. So Gave you the upside and bottom levels for Bitcoin. We're looking okay today. I know the overall market is just responding to Fed Powell speaking yesterday. Definitely a lot of energy coming in. But as for what I learned about that Fed meeting, nothing really too wild here and should be fine regarding interest rates. So looking at Ethereum, we actually did get into this scary territory of 2100. I would definitely like to see one more swipe up into at least 23, 24. That would be amazing to hit 2300 on the Hebrew year of 5783, being that 23 number. Who knows how this is going to go, but that would be a technical level for us to get. I'm also in a linear scale, so that would be right below the 618, and that's normally how a more larger market cap performs in an automatic rally. Now, lower market caps can make a little bit more of a dramatic move, but ETH only made it up to the 0.5 fib in the last cycle too. You can see from that swing high to that swing low, we got rejected right there at the 0.5 fib with what looked like a blow off top, and then we went into a micro downtrend. Here, we've already hit the 0.5. That's why I said it's a little scary, but we have a much healthier and better looking chart in this cycle compared to the last one, with this massive blow off top followed by a 95% free fall. Whilst here we've actually made this double top structure, had a much healthier looking distributional top back in the end of 2021 and only lost about 80%. And have held higher lows since that drawdown in June, whilst a lot of coins at the end of 2022 started to look horrible near Q4. ETH, on the other hand, was holding support and maintaining its bottom trend. This is a very positive looking chart, and that's what's making me feel like one leg higher is definitely in the cards for ETH, somewhere around 2400 before finishing off this automatic rally. And now on the downside, you would want to be worried if we started to close dailies into this below 1700 range. As for now, we're holding pretty nicely, and I would say that this isn't anything to worry about until those downside condition targets are met. Final words on XRP. We are now holding this 236 fib in the micro. So we have a swing high to swing low fib pull, and we've retested this 236. I've been holding it now going on 2 straight weeks, and it is about time that we turn this into a W pattern and break back into 52, 53 cents, and above 54 cents is still our key target. So I can't say too much about XRP. It hasn't really done too much, and it's going to move when Bitcoin decides to make its next move to the upside. So just be patient at this time. But once XRP gets about 61 cents on the upside, that's when we should anticipate the finality of the automatic rally. And that could happen very fast. Between 60 cents and 83 cents to $1 could all happen in a single trading week. So we'll be following along that. Again, this upcoming weekend, I'll be doing my Red Pill podcast for everyone. I just released my last Red Pill podcast, 109. We talked a lot about the XRP setup and how I'm anticipating this going, but for now, just patience, and we have to see what Bitcoin does next. I would love to see Bitcoin start to trade into the 31,000 area, but we have to make it through this lunar eclipse first. So I'm going to finish it up there. I appreciate every single one of you, wishing you an amazing rest of your week in the Matrix. Much love.